This is Eyewitness News on LA56 with live breaking news.
We are following breaking news right now, a pursuit in Laverne. This is a picture from Air7 HD. I'm Rutabaga Shabazi in for Colleen Sullivan.
I'm David Ono. We have been watching this pursuit. A motorcycle rider who is moving at a high rate of speed. This is a very unusual pursuit because we've been witnessing some rather dramatic and disrespectful behavior from this motorcyclist who has been first tried to get pulled over, or was going to be pulled over for reckless driving. As a result, he took off. We've seen a police motorcycle unit chasing him, and as you can see, he is moving really, really fast. Let's first start our coverage off with JT Albaugh, who has been watching this pursuit. And JT, this is especially fast. These motorcycles move way faster, more maneuverable than a vehicle, than a car.
They are, David, and they're extremely maneuverable, as you said. And this gentleman, I shouldn't say gentleman, this suspect is showing no regards at all for law enforcement here. We saw a situation where he turned into a residential neighborhood. He stopped the motorcycle, took his helmet off, actually put earbuds into his ear, like as if he was listening to music, to get him more pumped up during this pursuit. And as you said, we've been seeing some extremely erratic behavior. We'll see if he does it again here. At one point, in fact, several points, this suspect actually stood on top of the motorcycle with no hands, riding it like a surfboard, and giving police officers a hand gesture, which I won't go on the air with. Not a very respectful one, as you said earlier. But right now, he is coming into the area of Upland right now at very high speeds, slowing down, speeding up. And at one point when I talked about that, David, he was on that cul-de-sac, and a CHP unit went right head-on with him when he was stopped, and he just calmly got back on that motorcycle, actually just started up the motorcycle and went right around him. The officer opened up the door, and he drove around that door and continued right by. You can see him continuously looking over his shoulder left and right to see where those officers are, going through mid-phase tri-light reds with disregarding any type of cross traffic. Unfortunately, looks like he might be an experienced rider. So what's happening right now, and again, you can see the spectators out here, what's happening right now is there are CHP units, motor officers in the area, also black and whites in the area, but this is an air support type of pursuit. This is where the helicopters are very, very useful. They can keep eyes on. They can outrun these units on the ground, but they can't outrun the radio, and they can't outrun police helicopters. So in this case, they're going to watch and see what he does. I'm not really sure at this point yet. We're still waiting on information, David and Rutabaga, what the suspect is wanted for. But right now, we don't know if it's a stolen motorcycle. It appears to be his helmet, and he seems very comfortable on the bike. So it can be assumed, I hate to say that word, that it is his motorcycle, and he's a very experienced rider. So there's a good chance that he's not going to dump the motorcycle and run from it because he doesn't want to lose the bike. But we shall see how this ends. But again, CHP in this very high-speed pursuit with a motorcyclist through the city of Upland at this moment.
Okay, and you did see him going past other cars on the road there. Now traffic has come to a stop, and he's been weaving in and out. Doesn't look like he's going to abide by any of the traffic signals, obviously. Continuing to lead CHP officers now through Upland.
Okay, from what I understand, at least our early reports were that they were trying to look at him standing up on his bike right there, doing the stunts, as JT Albaugh was saying he's been doing through this entire pursuit, showing a great deal of disrespect, a great deal of cockiness, and clearly he is a good rider, knows what he's doing on a bike. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to survive this crazy pursuit. But from what I understand, and this makes a lot of sense, that they initially tried to pull him over for reckless driving, but we'll try to get more information on it, confirm that. We have our car specialist, Dave Coons, with us here in the studio. Dave, you made an observation about the type of bike he's on. What was that?
Well, it's sometimes called a naked sport bike. So it's a sport motorcycle, very powerful engine, big tires, good suspension, but it doesn't have all the body work that you might see on a full-fairing type sport bike. And these bikes are popular with what we call these stunters, these guys who make the YouTube videos and they do all these show-offy things. That way, when they do lay them down, they don't scratch up any expensive plastic or things like that. So it appears to be what's called a naked bike. They've become very popular lately. And the way he's dressed, he's got the helmet on, but he's wearing shorts, and like a vest, it's kind of a theme, sort of the way these guys ride and kind of show off a little bit. It's kind of amazing, as you mentioned, that he's been on now surface streets, and the biggest threat obviously is cross traffic. He may be a very good skilled rider, but you never know when something's going to come out of a side street.
Exactly.
There could be a patch of oil or whatever else on the ground, so he's obviously taking a lot of chances.
Yeah, and using absolutely no caution. You just saw him again standing up on the bike, now blowing through an intersection, coming really close to those cars. And as you know, I mean, it's hard sometimes to tell when the bike is coming up next to you in a lane, splitting lanes with you as a motorist, Dave.
Yeah, and in fact, he's going completely against the guidelines for proper what we call lane sharing or lane splitting. He's going way too fast. He's coming up on cars. A lot of people are commuting home. They probably have their radios on. They might not be paying attention, and if he doesn't have a police car close to him, they wouldn't hear a siren or see any flashing lights. So he's really surprising a lot of these cars out on the road. And it's just one turn, sudden left or right turn of a car away from disaster.
And again, he's been standing up, making gestures at police. Looked like he was at one point slowing down and speeding up again.
I think it's interesting that I've never heard that term stunter before, but now with this naked bike, so to speak, it makes a lot of sense. So clearly this is a guy who does this all the time. Maybe this is the first time running for the police, but you never know. I mean, he's obviously following a model that was established a while back with some other pursuits.
Well, you see these videos on YouTube where they'll stop in the middle of a road and they'll lock up the front brake and then spin the rear tire and make smoke and do circular burnouts and donuts and things like that. And a lot of it is social media, putting it on their YouTube channels, things like that, trying to show off. Obviously, he's getting a little more notoriety here, but for the wrong reasons.
Right. Let's go back to JT Alpaugh, who's been watching this. JT, some erratic behavior. Does this change anything when it comes to how police pursue him?
Well, it does a little bit, David. They're probably what's going in what's called a tracking mode right now. It's extremely dangerous for the officers, even the motor officers, to keep up with the speeds. Even though he's driving relatively slowly right now, it can be extremely dangerous for officers to try to keep up with the speed of this motorcycle through these areas. And right now we believe that he is in the area of Rancho Cucamonga. We don't have a street right now, but in the area of Rancho Cucamonga, we believe. But it is dangerous. So what they're going to really rely on is they're going to rely on the police helicopter to relay the information down to the units and try to be in the general area. So when he pulls over or he pulls into an area where he's more than likely going to try to hide the bike and try to run so they can't find the bike, but he won't be able to do that as long as there's eyes on. But yes, it's a different dynamic than a car. Now, you got to keep in mind, and as Dave mentioned, these motorcycles are very fast and very dangerous. As you can see, that two CHP motor officers very close to him. They can be just as dangerous at these speeds as cars can. They can obviously kill pedestrians and hurt people in vehicles, even though they're smaller and not as heavy. They can cause a lot of damage.
We have something going
into
on.
this gas station here.
Yeah, we haven't seen him though. He didn't come out. Is everybody off or? We're trying to get.
Well, we're going to try to get the helicopter around here and try to see what's going on. Maybe they've got him a felony stop right now. Got him at gunpoint, and it remains to see if he's going to comply right now. We're working on some signal issues. It does look like he is complying. His hands are up, and they are proning him out underneath the gas station. And I think he's basically done. He's shown off, and he's done what he wanted to do and put a lot of people in danger during this pursuit. But right now, CHP proning him out. They're going to go up and put him into cuffs. And this is over, and luckily no one was hurt or killed.
Wow.
He may have actually run out of gas. Motorcycles don't have a very large fuel tank, and a lot of these high-performance engines, if you only have about a gallon on board, you're going to go through that pretty quickly. So he may have been at the fact where he ran out of gas.
Yeah, there he is on the ground. Police have him. He is face down on the ground. A CHP officer is on top of him. This is happening at a gas station in Ontario, and as Dave Kuhn said, there is a chance that he ran out of gas. As we all know, the gas tank is sitting on the very top of those motorcycles. It holds just a couple of gallons, right, Dave? And so they don't go very far.
No, exactly. And I am corrected. Now that we see the front of the bike, it is actually a true sport bike. I see the fairing in the front there and the lowers. So not a naked bike, as we were saying before, but more of a true sport bike, bikes that emulate the racing motorcycles.
Well, we should be thankful that this thing is wrapping up because we've seen some horrible motorcycle accidents in the past, and usually it's the motorcycle rider that is badly hurt, if not killed, and it doesn't take a whole lot because they don't have a lot of protection around them. The fact that this guy finally gave up is obviously a very good thing for everybody involved because this could have had a very violent ending. The big question remains, what is going on in this guy's mind? Was he actually wanted for something other than his reckless driving? And then since they were trying to pull him over, was he just looking for a way to grandstand and show his skills on the motorcycle, knowing that he would be followed by not only the police but the media and then broadcast on television, which we gladly did. But and interesting, this woman is continuing to gas up her car.
She seems rather nonplussed by the whole situation.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that just shows you that these pursuits in Southern California, Dade Rudabay, these are just so commonplace these days, and we've had so many of them over the past week that, you know, this is just part of an everyday thing. It's very unfortunate. Now, I did want to mention, you saw one of the CHP officers looking at close in on that bike using his flashlight. What he's looking at is the serial numbers, the VIN numbers on the frame of that bike. That's one of the things that they'll go ahead and run and try to figure out if that the plates may not be stolen, but they can check the VIN number on that bike to see if it's stolen, if it is not his, and they can figure out if they've got more than just the reckless driving.
Okay, and we do have actually some video from earlier where he was doing that grandstanding, actually standing up on the bike, leading officers on this high-speed chase. Now a very different scene. He's down on the ground, but look at that, just standing up, no concern for safety or anyone around him, and this was a very, very dangerous situation. Everyone here is very lucky. Look at that, no hands, just completely standing up and going at a high rate of speed there.
So you wonder what he thinks he's going to accomplish by this, other than the fact that, you know, people are, I guess some other riders want to emulate that, because he's clearly emulating some other disrespectful riders that were in pursuits earlier. Obviously a growing trend when it comes to chasing motorcycles, but also keep in mind we didn't show this and we're not going to show it, but he had some unpleasant gestures towards the police officers who were chasing him, some really bad behavior by that motorcyclist. Nonetheless, Dave Coons, thank you very much. JT Alpo, thank you very much for helping us on this coverage of this pursuit. We're going to try to get some answers and figure out who this person is and why this whole thing started to begin with. In the meantime, we have some other news to get to. Tonight, the Navy SEALs mourning one of their own, killed in a parachuting accident at a training center in Paris. Eyewitness News reporter Eileen Frere has details from Paris Valley Airport.
A U.S. flag covers the body of a Navy SEAL. A Navy official says the victim belonged to the SEALs Group 1, based here on the West Coast. Officials say the SEAL died from injuries sustained during parachute jump training in Paris. Paris, a well-known skydiving center.
All these guys come from all over the world. Australians, you know, people from Europe. I mean, this is the Mecca of skydiving right here.
An area that's also common for military training. Members of the Canadian Armed Forces parachute team called the Skyhawks among the military practicing here just hours after the fatal parachute jump. The Navy SEAL was reported down just after 9 o'clock this morning near State Route 74 in unincorporated Paris. What exactly happened is not clear. An investigation is underway.
It's risky, you know. I mean, you jump out of the plane and, you know, you're dependent on if that thing's packed right. Depends on, you know, where he was at, too. If you're down low, you know, it's just a matter of seconds. You gotta do all the right things at the right time and hopefully, you know, get clear and, you know, land safely.
So far, the name of the Navy SEAL has not been released. They are still notifying next of kin. In Paris, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A much-needed sight, rain across much of Southern California today. Air 7 caught some showers over Irwindale early this afternoon. Scattered thunderstorms and heavy rain hit the eastern San Gabriel Mountains and southeastern Antelope Valley foothills. And in our local mountains, snow. Look at that. Our camera atop Big Bear caught some big flakes falling late this afternoon. So what's ahead for tonight? Danny Romero, who's in for Jonathan Novak, joins us now with a look at the weather. Hey, Danny.
All right, thanks very much, Ruta Bay. David, I'll tell you, we can take a great look and kind of see where all these storms come from. This great shot of these clouds just building up through the afternoon. Earlier today, you could see the real sign of that storm just rising up over the mountains, giving us what we have now, which are some pretty strong conditions. We'll show you on the Live Mega Doppler 7000 HD. We've got some very, very intense rain. The reds, the oranges, the yellows. The real intense ones, the red right here around Palmdale, around Lancaster, Quartz Hill. Very, very strong, very, very intense. In fact, enough to get some thunderstorm warnings going on right now. Through Wrightwood, also around Mount Baldy, some light rain in the green. But the yellows and the oranges, again, those are the more intense cells coming down right now. A very strong wind. Look at this. The black mark indicating the strongest system possible right in the middle here where Arrowhead, between Arrowhead and Highland, some strong, severe thunderstorms going on even as we speak. We'll talk about those areas that are kind of clear right now. Just some rain sitting off the coast of Manhattan Beach. Otherwise, for the most part, L.A. proper is dry from these conditions. But there are certainly warnings that are in effect right now. We're talking about this, just went into effect right now. This severe thunderstorm warning kicking in now until 7:45 tonight. This one's been here for a while now. That's that flash flood warning up around Palmdale. We showed you that strong cell a little while ago. So these areas right here with those flash flood conditions in effect until 8:30 tonight. Again, very intense rain. And it's not moving out of the area very quickly at all. That lends it to the very strong flash flood warnings and those severe thunderstorm warnings as well coming down as we speak. Now, we'll watch it through the nighttime. More still to come our way, and a 7-day forecast with changes in just a little bit. Right now, Ruta Bay and David, it is all yours.
Okay, thank you, Danny. And use your smartphone to track the changing weather with the free ABC7 Mega Doppler Weather app. It's available from the iTunes App Store and Google Play. Search Mega Doppler.
Up next, a search for an arsonist who set fires that burned school buses and one classroom. What investigators are saying tonight. Plus this.
Caught on camera, a house is shaken by a powerful explosion. What triggered the blast?
And viral video outrage, the baby surfing seen around the world becoming an international incident.
An arson investigation is underway after a fire gutted a classroom, a bus, and other property at Redlands High School. Photos taken by the Redlands Fire Department show flames tearing through 2 buses and a trailer parked inside Redlands Unified School District bus yard. Moments later, another fire sparks up at Redlands High School just a block away. Investigators say the 2 fires were intentionally set. Luckily, no students were on campus because it's spring break.
Close call for a family in Washington State. A boiler in their home exploding through the wall and into the playroom, and it was all caught on camera. ABC's Neil Karlinski looks at the potential danger in your basement.
The close call of a lifetime. The freak explosion, which blasted nails and superheated steam across what used to be a children's playroom, was caused by the home's boiler. Watch again. Not only did an entire wall blow out, but upstairs you can see a second camera shake before a nanny runs to get a 1-year-old in a crib right above the explosion. Chris Renaud and his 3-year-old son were in that playroom just minutes before. Today, Chris showed us what's left of the boiler.
How lucky do you feel that your family is in one piece?
We're pretty lucky.
More than 10 million homes have boilers, and 110 million have hot water heaters that can also explode if the pressure builds too high. Experts say relief valves need to be checked annually.
This is our pressure relief valve on the spoiler, and to test it, you simply flip this lever, and you can hear some water discharge. You know it's working. If it gets rusted shut, then you've got a bomb.
Remarkably, in this case, no one was hurt, but just barely. Neil Karlinski, ABC News, Bellingham, Washington.
How young is too young to hang 10? A viral video of a baby bodyboarding is causing some controversy. Take a look. Dad Jorge Tirado took his 9-month-old son out riding waves for the first time and captured the whole adventure on a GoPro camera. It's hard to tell whether the baby looks happy or terrified. Although there has been criticism over the stunt, Tirado is defending his decision, saying this sport is the best for spiritual, mental, and physical health. Tirado does not specify where the video is shot, but it is tagged as being in Puerto Rico.
Well, let's talk about our weather because it was an action-packed day out there today. We had rain and snow and lightning, and Danny Romero joins us with the Doppler. Hey, Danny.
I'll tell you what, Dave, that's a great way to put it. Action-packed is right. We were going crazy back in the weather office. We love this kind of weather. And we can show you on the live Mega Doppler 7000 AC, there is still some pretty good action going on as we speak. We'll show you, zooming in close to some of the hotter spots. We're showing right now around Lancaster, Quartz Hill, Palmdale. Very, very intense thunderstorm action as we speak. Flash flood warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect for this part of Southern California. You can tell when it gets down to that orange, the reds, the very dark reds, and even the black, that's intense rain coming down, lightning, strong winds, and a heavy downpour. And the rain not moving very quickly, so it tends to cause the flash flooding we talked about. Other areas to watch for. Again, mostly the mountain areas getting all the action here. Mount Baldy up to Redwood, we're showing you some spots with the orange. Again, more intense rain falling as we speak. That indicated by those colors. And then look at this one. A very strong action right around Lake Arrowhead. Again, we're seeing those black areas, that very intense rainfall rate coming down, more than an inch per hour rate. That is some intense rain right now around Lake Arrowhead and even down through Highland and the San Bernardino. Some light rain still in effect there. Now, we go outside. We'll show you where the warnings are going on. These are the real important ones to watch. We showed you those areas up around Palmdale and Lancaster. That severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now until 7:45, so another half hour or so, but still, as we showed you on the live Mega Doppler 7000 HD, very intense right here. Right next door, we're still seeing some flash flood warnings in effect. These will hold for another hour or so till about 8:30. Again, that rain just doesn't move out of the air, so that strong rain stays in one spot, hence the flash flooding that's imminent with a flash flood warning. Now, we go and show you a great shot of when the rain began to fall earlier today. Look at that. That's a great shot as the clouds build up and then just release that rain right there. You can see it coming down, heading up around Big Bear Lake. A great shot there on our time lapse. Now, we look outside, a live HD camera to Malibu, and the clouds settling in over the coastline and staying on the cloudy, cool side through tonight. Downtown looking fairly cloudy as well, 65 degrees at the moment. And we'll show you what's shaking. There's that low that's causing all of our thunderstorm action right now, slowly moving out of the area. By tomorrow, we'll see things start to change for us a little bit. We're still going to stay on the cloudy side as it stays through Thursday, Friday, and towards the weekend. Find a little bit of change as that low moves out. We start seeing some high pressure build in and things start to change. Here's our numbers tonight. Down in the 50s and the 40s in most spots. Colder at Wrightwood at 36. Then the highs tomorrow. A cooler, kind of partly cloudy day with highs mid to upper 70s through most areas. Cooler on the coast, of course, Malibu at 69, same for Huntington Beach. We look ahead now, 7-day power back weather, still partly cloudy. Cool tomorrow, and then look at the temps. Right about mid-70s, right through the 7-day weekend and into next week. All above average, by the way. Valleys, Inland Empire, partly sunny skies and temps pushing 80 on Friday and Saturday, Sunday. Even into Monday and still upper to mid-70s with a few clouds and sunshine mixed in through Wednesday of next week. The beaches will have clouds, cooler temps, and morning clouds, and even fog for the weekend, and pretty cool through the weekend. And next week, temps lower 70s, upper 60s, so not quite that hot 80s beach weekend we had last weekend. Mountain spots, still a chance of thunderstorms there tomorrow morning, and then clearing out by Friday and for the weekend. Should be a pretty nice weekend for the mountain spots. 50s for the highs all the way through, and cold nights down to the 20s. Now, the high desert areas tomorrow, partly sunny skies. On the windy side through the next 7 days, look at those nice, warm, sunny temps. We're talking 70s all the way through the week to a little slight cool down at 72 on Tuesday and Wednesday. Otherwise, a pretty good desert week. But still, tonight and tomorrow morning, storms in the mountains. Watch for that. Right, Rita Bay, David, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Danny. Up next, big news from Donald Trump, who he's supporting in the next presidential race.
Plus, is Lance Armstrong ready to race again? How the disgraced cycling champ could get his lifetime ban reduced. And ahead at 7:30, the death threat against Caroline Kennedy, our ambassador to Japan.
It comes just weeks after a threat to another U.S. ambassador.
Billionaire Donald Trump wants to swap the Trump Tower for the White House. The Republican businessman and reality star announced plans today to form a presidential exploratory committee. It's a step short of a formal campaign for president, but allows him to begin raising money and hiring staff as he weighs his options. He's hired political aides in Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. Trump said, quote, "I am the only one who can make America truly great again." And Lance Armstrong reportedly spoke with the head of the U.S. anti-doping agency last week in an effort to reduce his lifetime ban from cycling. The ban also includes sanctioned triathlons, marathons, and other sports Armstrong likes. Armstrong was stripped of 7 Tour de France titles following the agency's investigation into doping. The agency head and Armstrong's attorney have not yet publicly commented about this meeting.
We're updating the evening's top stories next at 7:30.
Including a hit and run in Koreatown. It leaves a 55-year-old woman hospitalized with serious injuries. And tonight, her son is speaking out, hoping someone will help find the driver responsible.
Plus, an Air Force veteran in court today on charges of trying to join ISIS. The evidence prosecutors have against him. Up next on Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56.
live from ABC7. This is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on LA56.
Our top story at 7:30, a U.S. Navy SEAL is killed in a skydiving accident. I'm David Ono.
I'm Rudabe Shabazi in for Colleen Sullivan. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7:30 p.m. Authorities say the skydiver was reported down shortly after 9 this morning in an unincorporated part of Paris. Officials say the SEAL died from injuries sustained during a parachute jump training. An American flag was draped over his body. It's unclear exactly what happened. An investigation is underway.
Gunmen wearing military uniforms stormed Tunisia's National Museum, killing at least 20 people, mostly foreign tourists. 2 gunmen were killed, but the manhunt continues for others. It happened at Tunisia's capital, Tunis, in a heavily guarded parliament compound that includes a museum. Gunmen opened fire at tourists getting out of the buses at the National Bardo Museum, and then militants took hostages inside. But security forces entered the building, killed 2 militants, and freed the captives.
There are new sketches and surveillance video in the kidnap and murder case of a 3-week-old girl from Long Beach who was found in a San Diego dumpster. Police hope the clues will lead them to the suspects who also shot the girl's family during the abduction. Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda has the new information.
This surveillance video shows a black SUV following a bus. Police say it goes on for a while. Then from a different camera, there's video of the mother and the baby getting off the bus at Del Amo Boulevard and Long Beach Boulevard. As she walks home, police say the SUV pulls up next to her.
We've only found that vehicle following the bus on that day. We haven't found any indication. The victims have given us no indication that they've had prior contacts, that they've seen the vehicle suspicious in their neighborhood, anything like that. We've gone through all of that with them.
Later that afternoon, police got a call of a shooting here at a home on West 51st Street. When they got here, they found 3 people had been shot. It turns out they were the infant's parents and an uncle, and the infant was kidnapped. The next day, 3-week-old Alicia de la Cruz was found in a dumpster in Imperial Beach in San Diego. Investigators say a man digging through the trash found the body in a garbage bag. These are sketches that police released today. They say the woman was driving the SUV. The man is the suspect involved in the shooting. Investigators say they don't have a motive and they can't find any connection between the victims and the suspect.
We still believe, based on the overall circumstances, that this family was targeted. We don't know why they were targeted. We found nothing in the background. I know all of you have asked, and the public has asked about gangs, narcotics, things of that nature. We have found nothing to indicate any of that in this investigation.
The SUV is a 2006 to 2011 Range Rover. Anyone with information is asked to call the Long Beach Police Department. In Long Beach, I'm Carlos Granda, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A prayer vigil tonight in Pomona for Salome Rodriguez Jr., the young man allegedly killed by an off-duty LAPD officer. That vigil will be held on West 3rd Street in front of the church where Rodriguez collapsed after being shot last Friday. Investigators believe LAPD rookie Henry Solis pulled the trigger. A warrant has been issued for his arrest, and Police Chief Charlie Beck fired him, calling him a dishonor to the LAPD. Solis is on the run, and police say he should be considered armed and dangerous.
Tonight, a search is underway for a hit-and-run driver who struck a woman at Harvard Boulevard and 8th Street in Koreatown last weekend, leaving her seriously injured. Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia spoke with the victim's son.
She cannot remember anything, what happened.
Dane Bond shared these pictures of his mother, son Lee, recovering from her injuries from a hit-and-run crash Saturday morning at 8th Street and Harvard in Koreatown. The LAPD says a rented SUV was heading westbound on 8th Street when it ran a red light and crashed into Lee's BMW. The LAPD is still looking for the driver. These pictures provided to us by the victim's son show the driver of the SUV running away from the scene of the accident. Bond says his mother suffered a brain injury and fractures in her rib area and legs.
So when she wake up, she asking me the same question, where am I? Again. Yeah, I need to explain when she wake up every time.
Bond says his mother was headed to his father's store in Koreatown to drop off his lunch. From there, she would drive to his jewelry store in Northridge to help him out. That was her normal routine. The LAPD says a rental company has given detectives information on the person who rented the SUV involved in the felony hit-and-run crash. Bond says his mother has shown some signs of getting better.
When I ask her something, yeah, she can ask it. Yeah. She remember everything before the accident.
Does she know where she is?
No.
She doesn't know she's in a hospital?
Yeah. Yeah, when she wake up, yeah, she asked me why am I here.
Bond says he's hoping his mother will be able to go home from the hospital in a week or so. He tells me doctors are indicating to his family that it may be weeks, maybe months before she's able to walk on her own without the use of a walker. Reporting from LA County USC Medical Center, I'm Sid Garcia, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Well, severe weather tonight in parts of LA County, and Danny Romero is here with the latest.
All right, thanks very much, David. Yeah, we can show you here a great shot. Our time lapse earlier tonight, some great pictures today. Our Angeles National Forest camera picked up this great shot of the rain and then the snow that moved through some of the mountain areas earlier today and into the evening hours as well, leading towards what's happening right now. On the live Mega Doppler 7000 HD, we can show you some of the more heavy spots coming down. That's indicated by the red, the oranges, and that intense black. That's some very, very severe thunderstorm action right now. Heavy, intense rain rates coming down more than an inch an hour in that area right near Quartz Hills, Palmdale, down around Aguadulce, around Acton. Some pretty strong cells working right now. Also, we'll show you another area of concern right around Mount Baldy, Wrightwood, just south and west there. We show you again the orange and the red areas, intense thunderstorm action there as well. Really high rain rates, lightning strikes possible, thunder certainly, and up around Lake Arrowhead, around Crestline. Much more intense a few minutes ago, but still with that red and orange area indicated here on the live Mega Doppler 7000 HD, still some very heavy rain rates at the moment, more than an inch per hour. So, warnings in effect. This one, the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for another few minutes up around the LA area, around Santa Clarita, Palmdale. Then here, the very, very strong flash flood warning. This effect for another hour or so. This is the one to really watch out for. Flash flooding happening as we speak in that Palmdale area. Be aware of that. Stay indoors. David Rudabay, I got a 7-day in just a bit.
We'll see you then, Danny. Thank you.
Okay.
As Iraqi soldiers and Shiite militias battle ISIS militants in Tikrit, the Iraqi Defense Ministry has released video of what it says are Iraqi troops training on the outskirts of the city. It also includes footage of families who, according to the ministry, have returned home to neighborhoods liberated from ISIS control. Tikrit, the hometown of Saddam Hussein, is one of the largest Iraqi cities held by ISIS. The campaign to retake it is being done without the aid of U.S. airstrikes. And a former Air Force mechanic accused of trying to join the terror group, ISIS, has pled not guilty in a New York City federal courtroom. ABC's Elizabeth Herr has details on the prosecution's case.
With his hands behind his back and his attorney by his side, Tyrod Pugh pleaded not guilty in Brooklyn federal court. Prosecutors accused the 47-year-old, seen in this Facebook photo, of plotting to travel to Syria to join the Islamist terror group ISIS. In a letter to his wife, he allegedly wrote, "I am a mujahid. I am a sword against the oppressor. I will use the talents and skills given to me by Allah to establish and defend the Islamic State." Pugh's former landlord in New Jersey is in disbelief.
He was always kind. He really did seem like a nice guy.
But according to investigators, the U.S. military vet was determined to become an enemy of the state. They claim 180 jihadi videos, including ISIS execution videos, were found on Pugh's computer. Court documents indicate he had been on a long road to the dark side. The former U.S. Air Force mechanic left the military in 1990 after 4 years of service and converted to Islam in 1998, becoming increasingly radical in his beliefs. He was even investigated, although not charged, in 2001 when a co-worker at American Airlines reported that Pugh had expressed sympathy for Osama bin Laden. And this January, Pugh was arrested while living in Egypt, allegedly trying to fly to Turkey to get to Syria.
And here you have real cooperation between the Turks and the Egyptians and the United States to make sure that this individual didn't get into Syria.
Pugh is due back in court in May, and if convicted, he could spend up to 35 years in prison. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
Up next, we're learning more about the death threats made against Caroline Kennedy. The threats coming weeks before another U.S. ambassador was attacked by a knife-wielding man.
Plus, what happens in Georgia when you take your horses on the freeway. In Japan, an investigation is underway following phone calls threatening to kill Ambassador Caroline Kennedy and Alfred Magleby, the U.S. Consul General on the island of Okinawa. ABC's Martha Raddatz has more.
The threats were made by telephone directly to the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo. "I will kill Ambassador Kennedy," the male caller reportedly said in English.
"We take any threats to U.S. diplomats seriously. We take every step possible to protect our personnel."
Caroline Kennedy is the most well-known U.S. ambassador in the world, who is always eager to get out among the Japanese people, as she told ABC's John Carl last year.
Do people notice you when you're out in your running clothes, jogging around the palace?
You know, it depends how fast or slow I'm moving.
The threat against Caroline Kennedy happened last month, before the attack on the U.S. ambassador to South Korea focused new attention on security for American diplomats. When Ambassador Mark Lippert was slashed by that knife-wielding man, the only person protecting him was one unarmed local police officer. As for Ambassador Kennedy, a senior State Department official tells ABC News that the Tokyo police provide an armed security detail for her. Martha Raddatz, ABC News, Washington.
In Atlanta, police pull a man over on the freeway for, well, we guess the charge here would be riding a horse on the freeway and escorting a second horse on the freeway. No word on why he was doing this. Maybe the surface streets were jammed. In any case, you can see it's probably pretty dangerous, and the police got the call. They ordered him to get off at the next exit.
Doesn't seem too concerned there. Well, we are seeing rain and snow, and what is in for our wild weather next? Danny Romero has his complete forecast coming up.
Plus, what a sight, the Southern Lights as you've never seen them before.
And Starbucks kickstarting a conversation on race relations. Why not everyone's getting behind the idea. A pretty awesome sight in the skies over New Zealand and Australia overnight. This is the Aurora Australis, also known as the Southern Lights, which, as you might guess, are the same as the Aurora Borealis or Northern Lights. The light show has a different name depending on which hemisphere you're in. And here's a look at the Aurora Borealis from space. NASA released this video taken from the International Space Station by astronaut Terry Virts. In both cases, it's the result of flares from solar storms interacting with the Earth's magnetic sphere.
That's amazing. I've never seen it so green before.
Yeah, it's pretty cool
that
looking.
Is stunning. In the meantime, we have had a lot of great action when it comes to our weather out there. There's still some precipitation out there, and here's Dallas, Danny Romero.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, David and Rudabeh, even beyond precipitation, some very heavy thunderstorm action still. As we speak, we're adding in more and more. We're sitting on live Make It Up to 7,000 HD, where some of the strong rain is coming down. Really intense. Thunderstorm cells popping up right around Quartz Hill. Palmdale has been going on all afternoon. That's still continuing in through the evening hours. We're also showing you down around Mount Baldy, some areas there too. We're showing some light rain in the green, but the yellow areas, more intense rain coming down there. Moving over, we'll still show you some areas still with some intense rain coming down around Crestline, around Muscoy, around the 215. Strong rain happening there as well. We look outside and give you an idea what's going on because of this rain. We've got these warnings in effect. We're talking about this severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Now extended to 8:30. This was going to cut off here in a few minutes, but now extended to 8:30. Still strong thunderstorm action right here in this part around Sandburg, Santa Clarita, north of Santa Clarita. And then here, we've got that flash flood warning in effect until 8:30 tonight. So right here, these areas especially, very, very intense rain, lightning and thunder in these spots. So really, if you don't have to be outside, do not venture outdoors. Stay inside. It's very, very strong and very dangerous. Now, give you an idea how it looked earlier today. Our Big Bear camera shows the snow coming down. I mean, we do have another day or two of actual winter still with us. So Big Bear kind of holding on to it just a little bit longer. Downtown skies of L.A. have clouds going on, and certainly on the cooler side, 65 degrees. Our temperature is 76% relative humidity and just barely a breeze of 3 miles per hour. And today our temps a little bit warmer than it should be. 70 is our average temp. We got to 75 downtown under all those clouds. And we're seeing our sunrise tomorrow at 6:58 just before 7 a.m. Here's what's shaking for our weather. That low that's giving us the weather now starting to slowly make its way out of our area by tonight into tomorrow. By tomorrow morning, maybe some showers in the mountain areas. Beyond that, though, we're going to see a ridge start to build in somewhat for the weekend. When that happens, we're going to see temps move up a little bit, but certainly more than anything else, just really dry things out. No real energy to show there. Here's numbers tonight, down to 55 in Ontario, a cooler 36 in Wrightwood to 58 in Long Beach and Redondo Beach at 59. And then the highs tomorrow, still above the average of 70 downtown. We're going to get to 74, and everywhere else we're going to see those mid to upper 70s, except for the coast. We're seeing 69 for Redondo, for Huntington Beach, and also Dana Point as well. Inland Empire, though, a little warmer there, to 80 degrees through the IE. Now look ahead. Here's our 7-day power back to weather. With a partly cloudy sky and, cool temps again tomorrow. But now the warming starts on Friday, Saturday into the weekend and staying right around that 76 range all the way through to next Wednesday. For the valleys and the Inland Empire, partly sunny skies tomorrow. A little bump up in the temps for the weekend to 79 and 78 through Saturday and Sunday and staying in that upper 70s range into midweek of next week. For the beaches, different story here. A lot of clouds, cooler temps, 69 for the high tomorrow, and then that low 70s, upper 60s through the 7 days with morning clouds and even fog on some of those beach locations. Our mountain areas, that's where we still have a chance of showers tonight into tomorrow. Thunderstorms very possible in the morning hours. Then clearing out for a pretty nice weekend, and then a week ahead. High desert areas, the winds are kicking up here through the next 7 days with partly sunny skies and temps in that mid to upper 70s range all the way through the weekend and into next week as well. But for now, those Inland Empire areas and especially those mountain spots, I'm going to show you once again. Here's where we're going to watch some very, very strong thunderstorm action. Keep an eye here and stay indoors if you're around this area through tonight. All right, David Rudabeh, go ahead.
All right, Danny, thank you. The first 3 meetings between the Kings and the Ducks this season have been nothing short of must-see TV. They all went into overtime, the Ducks winning 2 shootouts, and the Kings winning once in overtime. The Ducks have a comfortable lead atop the Pacific Division, 14 points ahead of the Kings. The Kings are barely hanging on to a playoff spot and hoping to avoid becoming the 8th defending Stanley Cup champion to miss the playoffs the following season. These 2 teams met in the Western Conference semifinals last year, the Ducks blowing a 3-2 series lead lead.
I'm sure there'll be a little more firing guys tonight. You know, we're hoping to face them again in playoffs, and so we got to give them a little last impression tonight.
Huge game for them, but also for us. We want to continue to make sure that when teams come into our building, it's it's going to be a strong game. It's going to be a hard-fought game.
Basketball now, the 11-seeded Bruins come into the NCAA tournament against SMU, winners of 12 of their past 18 games. In the Pac-12 semifinals, they had a 7-point second-half lead against number 5 Arizona before letting it slip away. The Mustangs and Bruins are meeting for just the third time overall and the first time in the postseason. UCLA has won both previous meetings at Pauley Pavilion. Guard Norman Powell says they're out to prove the doubters wrong.
Honestly, we're just happy and excited to be here. We're not really worried about what's being said, and just looking out to go there and have an opportunity to play another game of basketball. So I think this team has taken it as a little bit of fuel to their fire and more added motivation to go out there and play.
UC Irvine is headed to their first ever NCAA tournament, and it's not only the players that are excited about it. The campus and community has a touch of March Madness. A nice crowd showed up and cheered on the players as the team departed to Seattle for their first round date with Louisville Cardinals. The Anteaters are 8-point underdogs.
If you notice anything unusual about your coffee this morning, you're not alone. Starbucks is hoping to kickstart a conversation about race relations with messages on its cups, but it's also brewing up some controversy. Starbucks released a video statement from its CEO explaining the company's plan. Here's Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes.
Starbucks may be known for its drinks, but its latest move is giving customers something to chew on. The Seattle-based coffee chain is encouraging its baristas to tag coffee cups not only with the buyer's name, but also the hashtag #RaceTogether.
What can we do to create more empathy, more compassion, more understanding, and perhaps we could do something that would be catalytic for the country.
Now that's Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz explaining that his company of 21,000 outlets around the world needs to get America talking about race relations, especially now, with Ferguson, Missouri and Ezell Ford cases making headlines.
For some people who said, Howard, this is not a subject we should touch. I reject that completely.
It's a move that set off a social media firestorm. One man tweeting, quote, "How long do you think I could discuss reparations in a Starbucks before everyone gets nervous and I get tasered?" Another tweeted, "There are people who have the time and training to facilitate discussion about race, but they are not Starbucks baristas."
It's a little message on a cup that you're probably going to throw away later, so it doesn't really matter. I don't think people should complain about it.
People we spoke with here in Los Angeles say they like the idea that any encouragement to get people thinking about race-related issues is a plus.
It's a good idea because then more people can be aware and they can start to be more friendly to other races.
I think anything that promotes communication about the possible situation is always good.
And as for a corporate giant like Starbucks dishing out societal advice on a cardboard cup, the ongoing attitude here is so what?
I don't think we can move forward unless we have a serious discussion about it, so why not there?
Now, Starbucks is pretty conscious about its role in society. A good example, last year they opened this Starbucks store here in Highland Park. The people who live around here complained, though. They felt it was highly fortified and not very welcoming. Well, Starbucks listened, and they completely remodeled the whole store. In Highland Park, Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is next here on LA56.
And Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7. And keep in mind, the severe thunderstorm warnings and the flash flood warnings remain in effect until at least 8:30 tonight, but we're going to monitor it. We'll have the update for you at 11 p.m. on Eyewitness News.
Have a good night.